Every year, when the villagers harvested their crops, the chiefs would order the king to demand 60% of the villagers' harvest. This means that the villagers had to give away more than half of their food. This made life very hard for the villagers. They did not have enough food for themselves and their families. They were always hungry and sad. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful kingdom called Heartstone. This kingdom was rich with green fields, clear rivers, and tall mountains. The people of Heartstone were hardworking farmers, craftsmen, and traders. They loved their land and took good care of it. In Heartstone, there were important men called chiefs. The chiefs were the ones who decided who would become the king. But there was a problem. These chiefs were very wicked and greedy. They always chose a king who would do whatever they told him to do. They did not care about the people or the kingdom. They only cared about their own wealth and power. Every year, when the villagers harvested their crops, the chiefs would order the king to demand 60% of the villagers' harvest. This means that the villagers had to give away more than half of their food. This made life very hard for the villagers. They did not have enough food for themselves and their families. They were always hungry and sad. But that was not the only problem. The chiefs also tell the king to make a rule that anyone who wanted to fetch water from the stream had to first give the king a ram. This was very unfair because water is something that everyone needs. The villagers complained, but they were too scared to do anything about it. They were tired of the wicked chiefs and the puppet kings, but they felt powerless. In the kingdom, there was a wise old sorcerer named Malachai. Malachai had lived for many years and had seen how much the villagers were suffering. He did not like the wicked chiefs and their puppet kings. He wanted to help the villagers, but he knew he had to be careful. The chiefs were very powerful, and they did not like anyone who challenged their authority. Malachai had a small hut at the edge of the village. He spent his days making potions and helping people with his magic. The villagers loved Malachai because he always helped them when they were in need. He would heal their sick children, mend their broken tools, and protect their crops from pests. One day, Malachai decided that he had to do something. He could no longer watch the villagers suffer under the wicked chiefs. He went to the royal palace where the throne was kept. The throne was a special chair where the king would sit. Malachai stood before the throne and raised his staff. He cast a powerful spell on the throne and said, "From this day on, no man shall sit on this throne unless he has a good heart. Only a man who truly cares for the people will be allowed to be king." The chiefs laughed when they heard what Malachai had done. They did not believe in his magic. They were sure that they would be able to find another puppet king. But as time passed, they realized that something had changed. Every time they tried to make someone king, the throne would reject him. The throne would glow with a bright light and push the man away. The chiefs tried and tried, but no one could sit on the throne. The chiefs were very angry. They had lost their power to control the king. They knew that they had to find a way to break Malachai's spell, but they did not know how. They tried to bribe Malachai, but he refused. They tried to threaten him, but he was not afraid. The chiefs were desperate. They did not know what to do. Meanwhile, the villagers heard about what Malachai had done, and they began to hope. They knew that the chiefs could no longer choose a wicked king. But the chiefs did not give up. They continued to take the villagers' harvest and demanded rams for water. The villagers were still suffering, but they knew that things were starting to change. Among the villagers was a man named Jarek. Jarek was a farmer. He was not rich or powerful, but he was very kind. Jarek always helped his neighbors. If someone was hungry, Jarek would share his food with them. If someone was sick, Jarek would help take care of them. The villagers loved Jarek because he had a good heart. Jarek lived in a small cottage with his wife, Elara, and their 2 children, Lily and Thomas. They had a small farm where they grew vegetables and raised a few animals. Life was not easy for Jarek and his family, but they were happy. They worked hard and helped each other. One day, the villagers gathered together in secret. They were tired of the chiefs and their puppet kings. They wanted a real king, someone who would care for them and make their lives better. They talked about Malachai's spell and wondered who could be their new king. Then someone said, "What about Jarek? He is a good man with a kind heart. Maybe he can be our king." The villagers agreed. They went to Jarek and told him their plan. At first, Jarek was surprised. He had never thought about being king. But he saw how much the villagers needed him, and he decided to try. The villagers took Jarek to the palace. He walked up to the throne and took a deep breath. He sat down on the throne, and something amazing happened. The throne glowed with a warm, golden light, and it accepted Jarek as the new king. The villagers cheered and celebrated. They finally had a king who cared about them. King Jarek made many changes. He told the villagers that they no longer had to give 60% of their harvest to the chiefs. They could keep their food and feed their families. He also said that anyone could fetch water from the stream without giving a ram. The villagers were so happy. They could finally live without fear and hunger. The wicked chiefs were angry. They had lost their power. King Jarek banished them from the kingdom. He told them that they could never return. The chiefs left the land, never finding a place to call home. They had to live with the consequences of their wickedness. Under King Jarek's rule, the Kingdom of Heartstone became a place of peace and prosperity. The villagers were happy and healthy. They had enough food to eat and clean water to drink. They worked together and helped each other. King Jarek was loved by all because he had a good heart and cared for his people. Jarek did not rule alone. He formed a council of wise and kind villagers to help him make decisions. This council included farmers, craftsmen, and traders. They worked together to make sure that everyone in the kingdom was taken care of. King Jarek also made sure that everyone in the kingdom had a voice. He held regular meetings where the villagers could come and talk to him about their problems and ideas. He listened to them and made changes based on their suggestions. The villagers felt respected and valued. As the years passed, the villagers never forgot the wise sorcerer Malachai. They were grateful for his help in bringing about the change in their kingdom. To honor him, they built a house close to the king's palace. He was always ready to help those in need. The villagers visited him often, bringing him gifts and asking for his advice. Malachai was happy to see the kingdom prosper and the people happy. The king thanked Malachai for everything he had done for the kingdom. Malachai smiled and said, "Remember, a true king has a good heart and cares for his people. As long as you follow this, the kingdom will always be strong." The story of the Kingdom of Heartstone teaches us that true leadership comes from having a good heart. A real leader cares about the people and works to make their lives better. Greed and wickedness may bring power for a time, but they will not last. Kindness and goodness are what truly make a kingdom strong and happy. If you enjoyed the story, please like and subscribe.